Welcome back. It's our Friday edition of On the Hill with Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. This segment is brought to you by Lindsay & Associates with locations in Fayetteville, also locations in Rogers. This segment is also brought to you by Locomotion, located in Fayetteville just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall. And it's also, too, brought to you by Fun City, just off the 412 bypass in Springdale. And if you don't get a chance to catch us on our live stream of On the Hill with Jenkins Sports Talk, you can always go catch us on iHeartRadio as we podcast each and every day the top segment of our daily show of On the Hill with Jenkins Sports Talk. But we want to take you down and catch up with a good friend of ours of 107.1 FM. He also, too, is with SEC Country. He does a podcast for LSU as he covers the LSU Tigers. Carter, the Power Bryant. Carter, welcome to the Hill, my man.
Hey, we are on the hill, baby. You got the Facebook Live feed and all the good stuff, man. What's going on? I know you guys are missing me up there so much. I know Pat's been crying. Where's that light-skinned brother go? The one that has that chocolate chubby Bruno Mars looking fro dude. Where's he at?
I like that. I want to get off into. You were here last Saturday covering Arkansas TCU. What's your take? You've had a chance, Carter, to watch multiple years of Coach Brett Bielema and this Razorback program. But as you walked out of that stadium following the press conference, what was your take on this year's version of the Razorbacks in your own words?
Well, and first off, about that press conference in particular, I found it so interesting that Bielema really threw Cole Hedlund, the kicker, under the bus. Goodness gracious. When you use the word juvenile, I'm like, God bless, let this brother breathe. And, I mean, this dude kicks, but y'all still got beat in pretty much every facet of the game. Let's be honest, guys. You lose 28-7, and you can't punch it in the red zone. I don't care who you are. You're not going to win football games, especially against a Gary Patterson coach team. Was TCU a really, really, really good team? Yeah, but they're not a great team. That's not a team that you lose 28-7. I know the scoreline was probably a little bit uglier due to 2 late touchdowns, but let's be honest. TCU was in control of that football game. They gave LSU, they gave Arkansas a bunch of breaks, and I think, for me, the biggest question we have to ask ourselves here with Brett Bielema, will Arkansas become a better football team as the season goes on? We've seen a fade here. We see 2 blown leads at the end of last year, and this year against their first meaningful opponent, they get ran off the field, outgained by 100, outpossessed by 8 minutes. That's not a normal Brett Bielema coach team. When that happens, that shows things are in decay. That means things are in decline. And, you have a $14 million buyout with Brett Bielema. I know that's not something Jeff Long doesn't want to pay. I get all of that. With that said, there is some staleness with the Arkansas program. Is there a lack of talent on Arkansas? Yes, especially comparing to the SEC West and the other big guys in the Big 12 and whoever else. But both sides of the ball, I'm not sure is being properly coached. Kurt Anderson's really struggled as the offensive line coach, and since that great Tretola line, the offensive line's been in decline. Look at the other side of the football. Brett Bielema has really struggled to recruit the linebacker position. Even he has admitted that, and everyone's like, oh, here comes Bumper Pool, but that's not until next season. So Arkansas really needs to reevaluate what's going on with the program.
Flip to the other side. You cover LSU quite a bit. You get a chance to be around those guys. They've got a big game coming up in Starkville on Saturday. When you look at this game, what do you see as the key points for LSU to have success in, to be able to come out of this SEC West opener versus a very good quarterback in Nick Fitzpatrick and that Mississippi State Bulldogs football team?
Yeah, first off, you look at the last two matchups, they've been decided by a total of 5 points. This game has been very close. I don't know if you remember, but the best game of the Dak Prescott era was when he went into Baton Rouge and upset LSU. That was the last time Mississippi State's been able to get it done. They played really well against LSU. And you look at this line, guys. First off, you got Joe Tessitore, the craziest play-by-play broadcaster maybe in all of football outside of Gus Johnson. I love Tess. I've spoken with Tess a few times. You know the game is going to be close. Also, you look at the line on this in Vegas, it's Mississippi State +7. That's a lot of points, guys. Right. If I were to tell you this, listen to this, that the team with the far better coach, the team with the far better quarterback, and the team with an absolutely vicious home field advantage against the team that's not been on the road yet this year, you're telling me I'm getting 7 points from Mississippi State? It's pretty clear the Bulldogs are the better bet. I do think LSU wins a close game because of this reason. The defensive backs for LSU are the best in college football. Ask anyone that question, they would agree. They are lockdown corners on the outside. And this is a name that a lot of Arkansas fans don't want to hear. He's killed them over the years. Fred Ross. He's not with Mississippi State anymore. I don't know if Mississippi State has that playmaker on the outside that can get open for Nick Fitzgerald, who historically has not been an accurate quarterback. I like LSU in a close one here, 26-21, but Mississippi State covers. And I'm telling you this, there are a lot of sharps in Vegas that are betting Mississippi State outright. It's going to be close, but come on, guys. This is Mississippi State. They're in the same grouping as Arkansas. This middle-tier program that's always knocking on the door, but instead of banging 8 and 9s, they're taking home 3s when they go to the bar. That's Mississippi State for you. They're not good enough to win a game such as this one. Give me the Tigers in a close one.
Talking with Carter, the Power Bryant of 107.1 FM. Also, too, Carter does a podcast for SEC Country for the LSU Tiger football program. Got about a minute left, Carter, and I want to get your early take on next week's game in Jerry's World for the Arkansas Razorbacks. These are two programs with coaches that are under a lot of scrutiny. Apathy has set in at both fan bases. Who do you have in this game that's to be kicked off at 11 a.m. on Saturday of next week?
I like Arkansas in this one. They're off the bye week, early bye week. I do think there is a little overreaction to Arkansas getting beat that badly by TCU. There are big holes there, but I do think Arkansas eventually breaks free in this one because their secondary is just better. That's been the big key. That's the only reason that Arkansas has even lost to A&M over the past few years. Breakdowns in the secondary. I think Kevin Richardson's playing at a nice level. Santos Ramirez, kind of lost in all of that, had probably one of the more impressive interceptions we've seen in Arkansas. Their defensive backs have just been so bad over the years. I actually think they're playing pretty well right now. That's Texas A&M's strength. Their receivers winning on the outside. I think Arkansas has enough in the secondary to get this one. It's going to be an ugly football game, but Arkansas is more rested. They've licked their wounds, and I think they find a way to get this one done, 27-24.
Well, Carter, we're going to start having you on each and every Friday to give us Arkansas takes as well as the LSU side of the SEC West. But we appreciate you, and thanks for taking time out on the Hill, my man.
Hey, stay #blessed. And you guys, I do this. Y'all need to start doing your shows in just boxers. We need to get this thing going. I know, Pat, I see you on the Facebook feed, man. You're sexy, man. Show off that body.
You're a mess,
You're going to let me buy that chocolate that they want. Come on, Pat.
Hey, have a blessing, Carter.
You too, man.
That was Carter the Power Bryant of 107.1. Covers the SEC Country side of the LSU Tigers. Podcast shows weekly for SEC Country on the Tigers. Be sure and check him out each and every week. But we're going to step away and get us a real quick break. Demetrius and I, we're going to continue to talk Arkansas and see if we can come up with some answers that I know you guys and our listeners may want to know. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins. Back in a moment.